All right, we're going to bring this to order for the zoning hearing board for tonight. We're going to stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to approve the minutes of the last meeting. I think we've all looked at that. Is there anybody?
It's on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. Give me a microphone. I'm good. Huh? A little closer. And where have you been? No phone calls, no letters, no. You just left me alone. Okay, the minutes. Have you guys both, we looked at these?
I have.
Okay. Any questions on it? I make motion that we accept these minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's get- We have two issues we're going to discuss tonight. We're going to take the copper kettle first, because I think that's going to be the easiest one to work on. Do we have people here from the copper kettle that are gonna? There you are. You guys gonna come up and speak? It would be nice.
Well, just for my clarification, we're talking about the Copper Kettle Restaurant. We're talking about Copper Kettle Road, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. Doesn't sound anything that's in South Strabane. Really? Oh, my.
Go for it.
My name's Zach
Well,
Gebhardt.
he has to be sworn in.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
I do. Zach Gebhardt, ZACHGEBHART. My name's Zach Gebhardt, the owner of ZM Gebhardt Trucking, a small owner-operated business. I just have 4 triaxle dump trucks, so no straight trucks, not tractor trailers. We just do a lot of local hauling in the area. We're just seeking a variance to store and maintain our equipment. We wouldn't be, driving tons of traffic in. I have 3 employees plus myself. Trucks would be leaving in the morning empty and coming back at night empty. So we won't be running loaded down the roads. We're just looking for a place to store and park the trucks inside and maintain our equipment.
And the trucks will all be inside the building,
Yeah,
correct?
my current shop now, yeah, I park everything inside. Not planning on making any changes to the property other than maybe making the one garage door bigger on the one side. So we have 2 garage doors that we can get. We'd be using the existing buildings that are already there. And we applied for an additional use. My mother will be occupying the duplex. And our plan is to keep the current tenant that's been living there for 35 years to occupy the other side of the duplex. And then this is my brother-in-law and his wife and their newborn baby. They're going to be living in the house pending this variance gets approved. They'll be moving their family, their other 3 kids out there to live in the house that's next to it. So it's actually 3 different parcels.
Zach, what I did want to ask you, were you planning on putting up any business signs on that building?
I do not have
Okay.
to.
Okay.
Not to be ignorant of the whole thing, but what is the variance? What are we seeking?
Just permission that I'm able to park my commercial trucks there.
Okay.
I didn't want to buy the property and then have issues with the township after we already purchased it.
It's sound agriculture.
Do we have any people here that want to speak about this issue or for or against? And you need to be, put your names, get sworn in. And
To swear everybody right now that plans on offering. any
Yeah.
testimony tonight.
thank you.
Just please raise your right hand. We're either hearing, if you're not sure, just be sworn in anyway.
Just all of you, just do it.
Do you solemnly swear that you will not be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Don't you love that? God. Okay. We heard the gentleman speak. Who else wants to speak?
There's a list over at the door, I believe.
Go ahead and speak.
Everybody's sworn in, so.
My name's Janie Deemer, and I live at 324 Zediker Station Road. First of all, I am not against anybody trying to make a living in this township or working. I commend them for that. South Strabane has been a great mix of residential, commercial, and agricultural area. That's why lots of people want to move into the township. Somerset Township, which borders us, has its commercial area along the north side of I-70. So I believe Mr. Gebhardt lives in that township, and so he's probably limited over there not to keep it at his own residence. This, to me, is clearly spot zoning. I've lived here for 75 years. It's a big agricultural area on the Zediker Station, Copper Kettle Road, Rankin Road, Lakeview Drive. That entire area is all agriculture. And it is still a working farm out there. I'll give you a couple examples. In 2006, lifelong farmer Albert Connor had an offer, a significantly lucrative offer deal from an Indiana trucking company to buy his 90-acre farm. Albert Connor's farm sits at the very end of Rankin Road, close to the 519 area. It even borders and bordered then a commercial property that was used for a trucking company, a pipeline, and as of late, a water trucking company for the use of the oil and gas industry. He was denied the zoning, the individual company from Indiana, to buy that farm to make it commercial. So that set precedence back in 2006. Several years ago, a woman in the Pancake area asked for a variance to have a hair salon in her basement. It was denied because the supervisors and some of the planners thought it was too much traffic and it was in a solely residential area. Gaylord Plants, another property lifelong resident in the township, lives on Van Station Road. He was not allowed to park his RV motorhome on land that he has owned his entire life, and that is on Lakeview Drive. The reason was because he did not live there, and he was denied that. So he had to spend between $10,000 and $15,000 to make a parking spot at his residence on Van Station. My question is, he's already answered one, how many trucks? And I believe he said they were triaxles. Will they come loaded and go out loaded empty? What are the hours of operation? What is the route that they're going to use? Copper Kettle, Zediker Station. Zediker Station from Route 40 to the underpass is a state road. From the underpass to Route 136 is a township road. So I would believe that both of those, if this were granted, those roads would need to be bonded. Will there be stockpiles of material at this residence? There is also a creek that runs very, very close to that building. Will there be any chemical contamination from those trucks? oil, diesel, so forth. Heavy rains over the years, as I said, I've been here 75 years. That land along Zediker, when we have the heavy storms, actually floods. You could actually paddle a kayak in the amount of water. If approved this evening, the zoning hearing board needs to have an agreement with ZM Gebhardt Trucking to state maximum number of trucks, hours of operation, if the trucks will be kept inside, the route of travel, and bond the township roads. Thank you very much.
All very good questions. Where's the gentleman that was up here? Can you speak to that?
So I think I answered the first question. Right now, we have 4 trucks. Yeah, 4 trucks. At the current moment, I don't plan to grow at all. I'm kind of content with where I'm at now. What was your next question?
But if they grant you the variance, will that limit you to 4 trucks, or in 5 years, could it be 10 trucks?
I would never see it being 10 trucks.
But you can't say never. I learned that a long time ago.
Okay.
How
Yeah,
many-
well, my plan is, as of right now, I'm very content with where I'm at between 3 and 4 trucks.
How many trucks will fit in the garage, the existing garage? right there?
4. 4, yep. And I would plan on, yeah, parking them inside. That's what all my trucks sit inside now. I like to keep them out of the weather, and just tends to keep them in the best shape by keeping them inside.
So it could be a possibility of building another whole building, Morton building that's on there to store more trucks.
Then
See
he'll
where
be,
I'm going with this?
Yeah.
he'll be back.
Yeah, I
Well,
see.
well, 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 the stenographer, go ahead, take one person at a time. So please just try to keep one person talk. She can't talk, hear 2 people at once. Please proceed, somebody.
Yeah, right now, I don't have any plans on modifying the property at all. Actually, especially with my young nieces and nephews will be living there, and they're gonna be living in the house, so they were actually thinking about maybe putting a horse or using it to ride quads around in that field, and I wouldn't take that land around them away from them while they're children.
I have hours of operation.
We tend to leave, I would say on average, between 6 and 7 a.m. Sometimes some people leave at 5:30, but I'd say that's probably 10% of the time, and arrive back at the shop between 6 p.m. And our trucks are all emissions units. They don't have straight pipes, and they're not the trucks that rattle your house and knock the pictures off your walls coming down the road. They're all VPA emission regulations on them. They're very quiet.
You've answered trucks kept inside, your route of travel.
I guess whatever's granted, probably just Zediker Station Road. We would not be using Copper Kettle Road. I don't see a use to use that road other than turning on it and then turning into the driveway. But yeah, mainly Zediker Station Road.
Are you able to bond the township road if that is a requirement?
I don't think my business is to the size and capable of affording to bond the road.
What if your trucks do damage to it,
Um,
wear and tear?
I mean, I see when we looked at the property the first night, I watched 3 Hapchuck trucks drive right past it. The Township Recycle Center is on the road. I don't know.
Not there anymore.
Oh, is that not? Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm not.
We move.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think my business is not to the size that it could afford to on the road, and I'm not very familiar with that. I currently rent a space now, so I don't even know what that process is fully like. But I don't think so, because I don't think I could afford to bond the road.
Where are your trucks stored at the moment?
They're down in Canonsburg on Strabane Avenue, right off of 519 below the Can McMillan High School.
Some questions I have, thank you.
Good
And
question.
yeah.
Next person, please state your name and address.
Cynthia Rossi, 99 Zedeker Station Road, and also property at 561 Zedeker Station Road. I am totally opposed to this. I am sick and tired of people coming into South Strabane Township and taking our nicest, most relaxing areas and trying to do something else with it. I have studied the application, and the application talks about 3 trucks, not 4. I have also studied property owned by this gentleman. He owns 13 acres on Emery Road, right off of 519. He also has a listing for a property off of Christie Road in North Strabane Township. And the family owns the Spring House, so there is plenty of room for these trucks to be close, but elsewhere. Part of Zedeker Station Road up near Route 40 collapses a couple of times a year. And that's just with regular traffic, light traffic through. And if you go up, you'll see where PennDOT comes in and they put in gravel and they put in stone and they fool around with it and fool around with it. And it's never failed to not do this on one side of the road. Down near Jamie Deemer's farm, the road keeps collapsing into a pasture with the fencing collapsing. And that has happened since the longwall mining. And up on the other end of Zedeker, up near Route 40, where I was describing it, that was also longwall mining going through there. There is no way. I have invested 34 years in this township to have a trucking company in the middle of my road. And I think it's disgraceful that anyone would ask. I own a farm. I am a farmer. I am a businesswoman. I think this is absolutely beyond a variance, and it is not allowed in an agricultural area. And I wouldn't dare come into this room or any other room and ask for such a thing. Thank you.
My name's Kevin Booth. I live at 121 Zedeker Station Road. And I'll just go from my script. The applicant's request is straightforward under the zoning ordinance. The property is located in the A1 Agricultural District under section 245-13A. Any use not specifically listed as an authorized use is not permitted. When you review the permitted and conditional uses in the A1 district, a trucking business is not listed at all. Not as a permitted use, not as a conditional use, and not as a special exception. I understand the applicant is requesting approval as a conditional use. However, a conditional use must still be specifically listed in the A1 district. A trucking business is not listed as a conditional use in this district. So this board does not have the authority to approve it under that standard.
Sir, if I may interrupt you, I apologize. Where's your understanding that he's asking for a conditional use?
He said so.
He said variance, it says it in the thing, it says it's a variance.
Yeah, no conditional use, sir.
Okay,
Just want to make sure for the record, that's all. I apologize for interrupting you.
that's fine. There may be an attempt to characterize this as a home occupation or something incidental to a residence. However, the actual scope of this business clearly does not meet that standard. Federal motor carrier records associated with this business show multiple commercial straight trucks, including several Peterbilt and Freightliner vehicles identified by separate VIN numbers. The business also employs multiple drivers. This is clearly a commercial trucking fleet, not an incidental residential activity. In addition, the business's own public materials showed that it also performs snow removal services and lists its hours as, quote, always open, unquote. That reflects an ongoing commercial operation, not something incidental to a residence. Pennsylvania courts have repeatedly recognized that commercial trucking businesses constitute commercial or industrial uses and may be restricted to appropriate zoning districts. Home occupations are, by definition, limited and subordinate to residential use. A business of this scale with multiple heavy commercial trucks, employees, and continuous operations does not meet that standard under any reasonable interpretations. More importantly, even if the impact were argued to be minimal, the ordinance is based on use, not just impact. If the use is not listed, it is not permitted. I also believe it's important to consider that the actual driveway access to this property is from Copper Kettle Road, which is a township road. I'm not aware of any public engineering analysis demonstrating that this roadway was designed for repeated heavy commercial truck traffic associated with this type of operation. The township already provides appropriate districts for this type of activity, commercial and industrial zones, where truck traffic and business operations are expected and planned for. Approving this request would not be an interpretation of the ordinance. It would effectively be a rezoning decision, which is a legislative function and outside the authority of this board. The code does not permit this use, and the evidence confirms it is a full-scale commercial operation, so it cannot be approved in the A1 district. Thank you for listening, and I have copies of what I relied on for this testimony, if you would like.
I would like to talk.
Who's next?
Good presentation. Good presentation.
If you only have one, give it. Are you, well, wait a minute, first, wait, are you marking that as an exhibit? Well, you're gonna have to if you want her to take it. It's gonna be resident exhibit 1. Thank you. I'm sorry, ma'am, please proceed.
No worries. Diane Ecker, 212 Terra Drive, Washington. A trucking business in an A1 district is wrong. And it's boldly wrong since this appears to be a recent purchase in an A1 district to accommodate a trucking business. South Strabane Township has designated areas that are zoned for businesses of this type, commercial, industrial. And the zoning is in place for a reason, so that the township functions within the parameters that have been created for the security of the residents, true to the intrinsic nature of South Strabane Township. It is imperative to keep the constant noise and activity of a business, especially a trucking business, separate from the more serene agricultural zones. There is plenty of land available for a business of this type with the appropriate commercial industrial designation, but it is not in an A1 agriculturally zoned district. Going against the agricultural zoning to allow a business to move in would violate the integrity of the zoning, remove the intended protections of zoning, and be a disservice to all residents of this township. An agriculturally zoned district should be exactly that, agricultural. I respectfully ask that you remain true to the township zoning designations and to the residents and deny this variance on the Copper Kettle Road property. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? You gonna speak? Are you waiting till the end? I'm just curious. Okay,
She's got to bring up the end, okay?
all right. This will be the big finale. Okay.
That's what she does. She wraps it up.
My name is Ashley Moniger. I'm a resident on Copper Kettle Road. I'm here tonight in opposition for the variance application for a number of reasons. The purpose of the A1 district is to preserve agricultural land, maintain the rural character of the township, and support low-density residential and agricultural uses. A commercial trucking business is clearly inconsistent with those objectives. The application itself shows the property is being purchased with full knowledge of the existing zoning restrictions. Under Pennsylvania law, a hardship created by the owner or purchaser is considered a self-created hardship and does not justify the legal granting of a variance. Pennsylvania courts have consistently ruled that uses of variances and them being granted, they should only be granted in very limited circumstances where there is a true and unnecessary hardship tied specifically to the property itself, not personal preference, business convenience, or a financial benefit. Cases such as Valley View Civic Association versus the Zoning Board and Larson versus the Zoning Board of Adjustment clearly support that standard. The applicant states that they want to operate an existing business from this property and utilize the existing garage. That does not demonstrate that the property cannot reasonably be used as it's currently zoned. I also believe that the board should consider what this use actually represents, whether this operation falls under a contractor yard, trucking terminal, commercial storage, or a similar commercial use. These are not permitted uses within the A1 district and are intended for properly zoned commercial or industrial areas. As a township, we are stewards of the land and responsible for upholding the ordinances that protect the character of our communities. Even allowing a currently small business that's commercial and having its commercial operation within an agricultural district sets a precedent that undermines the purpose of the zoning ordinances and threatens the rural and agricultural character of this township, for which we have worked so hard to preserve. It also opens the doors for other businesses and sets that precedence. And what we're dealing with now, as far as the township and data centers and ordinances, can set a scary precedent. Zoning ordinances exist to protect township residents and preserve agricultural areas for future generations. I respectfully ask that the board uphold the intent of the A1 district and deny the variance request because no true hardship has been demonstrated. And while I can appreciate a business in the township, and I do, I just find that changing it again, as James said, and spot zoning and things of that nature are just, it sets a scary precedent for us as township residents. No, and I amend it if it's contractually, you're contingent on it.
Judy Panassi, Green Crescent Drive. I'd like to thank Janie Deemer for stealing some of my thunder tonight. I was going to show off that I knew about the 2006 incident. I was at those meetings as well. And I remember when that went down and they did not allow, somebody came in and said, we want you to change it from I-2 to allow an what they allow an I-1, and this township wouldn't do it. And it was just 10 trucks and they wanted all this acreage and it didn't make any sense and it was not allowed. It's spot zoning and it didn't happen. And I don't even think it was in front of this board. I think it was in front of like planning or the supervisors. I've been taking some notes and first of all, Kevin was half right. Part of what this is this isn't a variance because it doesn't allow. A variance is when something's allowed and you're giving it like a special thing, like you're allowed a fence. A variance is allowing a 6-foot fence to go to an 8-foot fence. This isn't allowed at all. So therefore it's not a variance. It's not allowed in that district. There's nothing in this township that says that this is something that's permitted in that it's an A1. A1, sorry. A1, it is not allowed. It is not a variance. You're not granting a variance. You're granting something to let them do something that's not allowed at all, and they're allowed to do it. And I would take that, and if you're not 100% sure, then don't vote on it tonight and table it and make sure you're doing the right thing. But I have checked into that. It sounds like they're not even living at the building, that other people are living there. So according to what Janie said, that's not even allowed. And there's a million places they can put their trucks. They're renting someplace now. It's not like they don't have anywhere to put it. So this just like, that doesn't even make sense. They're not buying the property to be close to their equipment. They're living somewhere else and coming to the equipment. They can do that anywhere. Why do we have to allow it? And again, start down a road that this board does not go down. The one thing that I always tell people is that you guys on this board and our planners, they always look out for this township and they understand what the rules are and what the residents expect. And the one thing the residents in this township expect is a standard of living. And that's for everyone, whether it's where they live, where I live. And then this affects me too, because I'm up on Floral Hill. If I have those trucks going by and the trucks could be going by Floral Hill, it looks like when the buses would be there. And by the way, if they're starting at 5 to 5:30 or 6 to 7, you're not even allowed to start construction in our township until 7 o'clock. And I know, because I hate that. I think it's too early, but they're starting their business before anybody can even do construction. And if it's snow plows or whatever, or their backup noises, Ashley lives right there. And Justin, how's that fair to them? Every single day to have to wake up to that. Oh, thank you. Sorry, ma'am. Okay. Same thing for that lady as well. But like, nobody deserves that. A little bit of information about the garage. That garage was built for RVs. It was not, because I read through the thing and it said that it doesn't fit for agricultural zoning. Well, that's because it was built for RVs. It wasn't built for agriculture. They had a garden there. They didn't, but these weren't like farmers where like Janie has her cows and everything and has all that acreage. That was built for what it was intended to, for the people who were living there to put their RVs in. It was not meant for a business. It's never been meant for a business. Sorry. I'm getting old and I know I should have readers on. Let's see here. Sorry. And there's nothing saying that it has to be agricultural. You can have residential use in that zone. But it doesn't, the zone allows for residential use, which is what it's been used for all these years, but it doesn't allow for a business. So it's been residential use all these years. It hasn't been zoned as a farm from what am I wrong on that, Cynthia?
Excuse me.
Sorry,
One at a
sorry.
time, please.
I was just asking her a question so I could got it. So, but again, nothing says that can't be residential use only. Nobody's telling anyone to buy that property if it doesn't fit what they need. It's an area people move to, so they don't have to be around businesses. Some of you aren't going to the data center meetings, but those of you who are, that's the biggest complaint that everybody has, is that they've moved out to that area for agriculture and for peace and quiet, and that these data centers in the I-2, not agricultural area, how that's going to change everybody's lives. Now, this is somebody trying to bring industrial into an agricultural area. Again, people move there for a reason. And I think that needs to be looked at. And if not, then anybody can say they want to move anywhere and change anything. What's the point of an ordinance? Say they want, let's see here. Again, I just made a note that says like they want to make reasonable use of the storage with multiple vehicles. Again, that's their choice, but they don't have to have a business there. They can go anywhere they want. The drop in price for the property, which I'm sure they're going to try to argue, could be because of data centers, because we've been told that the property in this area is starting to drop and people are taking South Tribune off their list for the fear of data centers. And also the data centers have posted something where it looked like they wanted to be in that area, which ours ordinance that we're going forward with is not going to allow it in agricultural. But letting something like this happen and letting industrial into the agricultural area, that's a slippery slope in the future for data centers to go into the agricultural area as well. When we talk about, sorry, okay, Janie, that's the part where you covered that. The other thing is I don't know if any of you are aware, when Range Resources wanted to put the Mitchell Road well up, and as Janie covered it, under 70 is South Tribune. The other side of 70 is the state road. And then I think someone said the Copper Kettle is a township road as well. South Tribune would not allow Zedekar Station to use their part of the road to go up Rankin Road to go to the Mitchell well. They made them go the other way around because the fear was how bad that road was coming down Zedekar Station Road and what the traffic would be like for trucks for the gas companies. You know, people walk these roads, people have dogs, they ride bikes. You know, having a company with big trucks on it, and again, if you can't even afford the bond in case something goes wrong, then is that appropriate as well? But I think if the township hasn't looked at that, and if you don't have information on the road usage, the conditions of the roads for changing what's going to be using it. Oh, and the other thing was this closes on June 15th. So again, it hasn't been bought. This is not something that's been bought. They're in the middle of purchasing it and trying to get this before they purchase it. But according to all the testimony tonight, this township's never allowed anything like this on multiple levels. And again, I question that this is not a variance at all, that this is something that would go under a different category and have to be much deeper looked at than just we're putting 3 trucks or 4 trucks in a garage, because we don't know the answer on that yet. Thank you.
Yes. If you would come up to the mic and give your name and address, absolutely.
Christine Foster, Mary Ann Ames. I am her executrix of her estate. I don't know if the board is aware of this, but her husband was a builder in the time, and he housed his equipment down there in that Morton building and in that garage. So he had a business. He had a backhoe, he had a dump truck, whatever you would need to run a construction business. So I'm kind of lost in all of this. And he would leave early in the morning. I don't understand the difference here. And he was in business 50 years, I'm guessing. I don't know, but it was a long time. And they have lived down there, and they built that house in the late 70s. Yes, I'm sorry, 69. So it's just something that just didn't happen in the past 10 years. It was there for a long time in South Germain Township.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Robert Farner, 377 Zediker Station Road, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet because I'm speaking from the heart, no fancy notes. I bought Janie Deemer's brother's property 33 years ago. I have the big garden every year there on Zediker Station Road. And my biggest concern is traffic. 33 years ago, there was very little traffic. Zediker Station wasn't meant to have vast amounts of traffic. Sometimes I take my life in my hands to wiggle across the street to get my mail because I've had a hip replacement and a knee replacement. And consequently, I bought the property because it was agriculture. I'm from West Virginia. I love the ground. I love nature. I love the farm. And I don't want to see this ruined. So consequently, I don't want to see us have a construction business or any kind of business with massive trucks going up and down the road. Thank you very much.
Anyone else on this application? Again?
I just had a response to Chris Foster, who represents Mary Ann Ames property.
I'm sorry, can you stand up at the mic so that people on Zoom can hear you? Thank you.
Janie Deemer, 324 Zediker Station Road. In response to Chris Foster, who is Mary Ann Ames's cousin and executor of the will and the estate. As I said, I've been in that area 75 years in the same place on that farm. So I've known all my neighbors for many, many years. Paul and Mary Ann and their son, Paul Lee, were very close friends of mine and wonderful neighbors. Paul Ames did have a construction business. He built homes. He had a 1-ton dump truck. That's all, a 1-ton dump truck, not a triaxle. He had a rubber-tired backhoe. We have one of those. We have a 1-ton dump truck that we use on the farm. Those are low thresholds to any road in the whole township. They're not big triaxles like Mr. Gebhardt is speaking of. I just wanted to make that clear. Paul was there 1951. So I'm sure his business was grandfathered in before the township had any of these zoning issues, zoning laws or whatever. He was there before all this started. Thank you.
Zach Gebhardt. I just want to come back up here and say that I appreciate everyone's concerns, and we're not looking to take away farmland. I'm not looking to demo everything on the house and build a huge trucking port like Pitt, Ohio or Estes or Old Dominion. I'm just a small owner operator business looking to use the property in the same condition that it's in. And as for snow removal, a lot of our equipment sits on site, and we do not use the big trucks for snow removal. They're all, like you said, 1-ton dump trucks or pickup trucks. And 9 times out of 10, my employees take them home. So no one would be reporting to the shop in the morning to, not going to say never, but we're not using the triaxle, the commercial trucks to do the snow removal. And just wanted to come back up here and clarify that. And like you said, we're part of a farming family. We're not looking to take away farmland or anything like that. And
May I ask him?
yeah,
Okay. Previously, you said that you were going to park 4 trucks in the building.
yeah.
Now you're saying that your employees take the trucks home.
No, I was saying during the snow removal, but we have little pickup trucks that would go in the garage under the dump trucks in the dump trucks in the big Morton building, in the big pool building. And I would probably store some of the pickup trucks in the garage that's underneath the duplex there. But I just wanted to clarify that we're not using the huge triaxle commercial trucks for snow removal, because I think it was he was worried about saying all hours or whatever. I don't want people thinking that there will be, commercial trucks leaving at 2 a.m, and that's not the case. But we'd be leaving empty, coming back empty. We would not be loading unless we were hauling a load of material to the driveway at the property. Would probably be the only time that we'd ever be loaded. But yeah, the trucks leave empty, come back empty.
These are the triaxles.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, the
So
triaxles.
traffic is still going to go up our road. The triaxles.
Yes, they would go.
Right.
I was just clarifying like the hours, like he said, the hours of operation.
Judy Panassi, Green Crescent Drive. My question is, this started on a piece of paper as a variance for 3 trucks, up to 4 at this meeting. Now we're hearing about pickup trucks. So how many vehicles at the most, because that's one of the things this township looks at, for the space you have to have inside for people to even stand, like, there's a whole formula for things in ordinances. How many vehicles at the most are going to be on that property, including when your people are driving their cars there? And if you do snow removal, do you have salt, and will the salt be on that property, which can then get into that creek? Because if you have water, like that's all by that creek, right, guys? So like, there's just like, this keeps getting more concerning instead of less concerning, because it sounds like there's way more vehicles that are on your application and what's going on than 3 triaxles being stored in a building. And again, your application doesn't say you don't live there. And I guess, and again, Janie said that's one of the rules for this township, because you have to live on the property where you're asking for this. So you're using this property, you're buying it, using that for storage or like the whole operation? Are there signs? How many, like, what are the, like, there seems to be a lot more details that we need about this. If this is to even go forward, because like I said, it starts off on free on paper, and tonight we've heard about all kinds of different things.
I think the application said we have 3 employees, which I do have 3.
One person. Now, this isn't a debate.
So as far as you said with the traffic, it would be 3 employees that drive to the shop in the morning, park their vehicles, get in the commercial dump trucks, leave for the day, and then, so I guess you could say they come in their personal vehicles, leave in the commercial trucks, go work wherever they are during the day, and then come back, drive the commercial vehicle back to the shop, park it, get in their personal vehicles, and leave. That's it.
But what about, you mentioned pickup trucks? So where are the pickup trucks in all this? Like the triaxles are one type of vehicle. A pickup truck, I believe, is a different type of vehicle. So we are also gonna have pickup trucks on the property as well?
Yes, I would have 2 pickup trucks that would be stored in the garage underneath the duplex.
So now we're up to, is it 4 or 6 vehicles?
6 vehicles then, I guess, yeah.
Which is not what the application even says. It states 3 and it's different things. And again.
I listed the commercial vehicles on the application. I didn't know I would need a variance to park an everyday vehicle.
In a non-business area, it's not even allowed. So.
But there's multiple, I'm not totally familiar with, like you said, the grandfathered in, but there's multiple different businesses in the same zoning up on Beagle Club Road, EQT as a production area, TBS drilling.
One at a time.
I thought it was in A1 zoning, that whole side.
If it is, it doesn't matter. It's grandfathered.
Okay, but that's why you guys mentioned that there's tons of places for commercial and industrial use, and this is why I entertain this property, is because I can't, anything up here in Trinity Point or commercial, it's millions and millions of dollars. It's just not something that a small business can afford. So when I drove around and I saw these other businesses like Hapchuck on Rankin Road and places like that, and other businesses on Beagle Club, TBS drilling, that industrial park that Jeff Silvosky owns, and that's why I entertain this. I'm not looking to ruffle anyone's feathers or try to. But
so this isn't just a business. This is you buying it for your family to live there and have your business there. So that's completely 2 different things versus just looking for a place to house your trucks.
Yeah, it's multiple. I mean, on the conditional use, the first thing says owner will be occupying or a family member.
But that's conditional use. This is, again, you apply for a variance and this isn't even allowed in that. That's it.
This, when I talked to, I believe it was Kristen, that's what they told me to apply for at the township.
Okay, well, I would ask this board check into that and make sure that that is accurate and done correctly. Because we've made a lot of mistakes in this township behind Johnny Neal and other things recently that have cost us a lot of money because we did not get the stuff done right and appropriately. And again, tonight, we've had a room full of people with information regarding this, and I just hope that we'll at least table it to make sure.
Yeah, I'm willing to answer any questions from anyone. I'm not looking to cause any harm or stir. I want it to be clean and cut and everyone get the answers straight from me. This is my mother that will be living in the one side of the duplex if you would like to talk to her. Or does anyone have any other questions? I'm sorry.
I have a question. What do you haul with the trucks? Like, are they used in agriculture or for any of the farms around there?
I haul
or-
like limestone material. I actually haul for a lot of farmers. But I do like Pennsylvania American Water work, installing water line, stuff like that. Road restoration, trench paving, road work, just all local stuff. Supply, topsoil hauled into landscape yards like A&S Landscaping up here. I do a lot of work in the area around here. It's all local. I don't want anyone to think that when they see trucking business, they think, huge tractor trailers and a big trucking port, because that's not like, I just thought we were doing right by coming to the township, and a lot of people would just purchase a property and start parking their equipment there. And, some people, other than I guess passing us on the road, but I really feel that some people wouldn't even know that we were in there if I didn't apply for this. And I just think it's for a small business, it's one of the only ways to ever own a space and have your own space versus, small businesses can't spend millions and millions of dollars on buying a commercial piece of property and developing it and stuff like that.
Again, Judy Panasic, Green Crescent Drive, you keep saying the Belvidere though. Like it keeps going again from 3 trucks to what the future could be in developing that property and using it for the future.
I said I'm not.
You just said, and three future.
I said a small business can't afford to buy a commercial piece of property up here and develop it.
And that's the concern with the residents too, is that this could grow. And again, if this board were to go forward, I would ask that there would be stipulations on extreme limits to. I would ask that if this board were gonna go forward with this, to have extreme limits on everything, times a day. Like I said, even when they're leaving, there's kids that stand on the road, that they could be going up Floral Hill with the school buses and the parents and the parking. Like, it's just, like I said, we don't need to make our neighborhoods more dangerous. We need to look out. But I would ask the stipulations that there would be absolutely no growth if you went forward. But again, from on the majority of this room, the testimony seems to be that we're against it, or to at least table it to make sure the answers are all right and everything's been done accurately, so that the township is not left holding. You know, we had a discussion the other night about what happened to the Foundry when they walked away and bonds weren't taken care of. It what ends up in our taxpayers out of our pockets to pay for stuff, because there was no bonding on the roads and things weren't done right. So I would just ask that we get more information. Thank you.
Anyone, ma'am, would you like to speak, or are you okay? You'd raised your hand
He raised
earlier.
his hand right here, Mom. Let's let him,
Well, if you're gonna talk, you have to come up. to
Mom,
the-
let him answer his question here, or I'll answer his question. Did you raise your hand? Do you have a question?
I'm not sure it's.
We'll go. Do you have a question for
No,
me,
wait,
or do you want to
wait,
talk?
Wait,
or-
wait.
Okay.
If he's gonna talk, he's gotta come to the mic, give his name and address.
I think he just said he had a question.
That's
You
okay.
still want him-
For the
okay.
record, if you could get sworn in, sir.
My name is Francis Blank, 327 Zedekar Station Road. Okay? You're saying you're gonna have 3 trucks, correct? 4 trucks at the facility. If you have an opportunity in your business to put a 5th one on, are you gonna say no? Because you say you're only gonna have 4. But you're going, yeah, well, I want to hear you. You're going to say no? You're only going to put 4 there?
At the current situation that I'm in my business, I don't see myself growing past 4 trucks.
But you're not going to say no. What about the tire people that's got to come in? Are you going to put a fuel tank there? You're going to have a fuel tank there. And there is a creek that runs down there that waters our animals. And there's going to be a chance that we get pollution in my creek for my animals. That isn't going to work too good. No. So with the extra traffic you're going to bring in, here comes a fuel truck now. Here comes a tire repair man. And where are you going to store your used tires? And what are you going to do? Yeah. Pardon me? Absolutely, yeah. 550 gallon, I do, yeah.
1,000-gallon fuel tank and 6 containment.
It doesn't matter. What about the oil when you change your oil? What happens to the oil?
Goes into the 55-gallon drum
Then what?
and gets disposed of. People that burn waste oil, take them.
Well, I don't know, man.
I don't think the oil.
And that also is a school bus route. A school bus runs that route, and a car that hauls the children also run up and down that road. So, and then you're going to be starting at 6, 4. I mean, I've been in the construction business all my life. So you start early. But see, in a township, you're not supposed to be starting that early. How's that going to work?
That's why I'm here.
Pardon me?
That's why I'm here. To seek permission. I'm not. That's why we're having this meeting.
So now you want to change the ordinance, and then you want permission to start early. What about the people that live right across the street from you that are retired and don't get up early in the morning now? They worked all their lives. Now they want to be able to sleep in bed a little later. They have to hear your trucks fire up. Do your trucks have a hitch on them? There's no hitch behind your trucks. You don't pull no trailer. Yeah. That's it. But let's face it, I don't know one businessman, if he gets a chance to expand, he goes. And I think you'll do the same.
Where I'm at now is it's manageable for me and myself. I'm happy with it.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer and I don't know a lot about what can happen, but the township has turned some citizens in the township down that could have made a lot of money. And they turned them down. With opening this up and doing this, would that put a chance that the township would come up with a pretty big lawsuit? I don't know how that could happen, but something to think about.
I think she needed your last name, sir, if I understood her correctly.
Blank, B-L-A-N-K.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Kevin Booth.
You said it's Booth last name?
Booth, Booth.
Thank you.
I just had a couple of follow-ups. Federal Motor Carrier shows currently you have 5 straight trucks registered or listed with them. 2 of them happen to share the same license plate number. So I'm kind of confused as to how many trucks we're talking about totally. And I'm not going to deviate from my position that this is not an approved use of this property, but we seem to be, the solicitor interrupted me previously about the conditional use. That word has come up again. I'm not sure if we're talking a variance or we're talking conditional use, special exception, or what we're doing here.
We're talking about a use variance.
But he's used the word conditional.
We can put conditions on a use variance.
Well, now you're changing
But
the
a conditional
legislation.
use is in front of the Board of Supervisors.
Correct. That's why I say this board doesn't even have the authority to entertain this. This isn't a variance. He's asking for a conditional use. I've heard this now twice. But again, the number of trucks seems to be a moving target. You have a document in front of you that I entered as Exhibit 1 that shows 5 trucks listed for Federal Motor Carrier. 2 of them share the same license plate number. Maybe that could be explained away.
In August, I traded in, you said a Freightliner. We have 4 Peterbilts. The Freightliner was traded in on that Peterbilt and the license plate was transferred.
Okay, but it still shows up under FMCS as a vehicle that you maintain. So, but again, it seems to be a moving target. It doesn't change my position. It's not permitted in the A1. And I simply should just be denied.
Anyone else like to speak? Again, ma'am?
Cynthia Rossi again. I usually know if I have 8 llamas or 6 llamas, 2 llamas, 2 alpacas, know where they are, etc. But if I write that I have 3 trucks, I don't then say I have 4 trucks and only have 3 on the application. And don't mention the little trucks or the gas. They have 500 gallons. He wants 1,000 gallons near the creek. Their tank is way set back in away from the creek. There is a big difference here, and not living on the property. This is a residential area. We all live on our properties. If we bring our family in, that's fine, but we live there. And we want to continue to live there in peace and quiet. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Okay. We're going to mark some exhibits before we proceed. Zoning Hearing Board Exhibit A is the application signed by this gentleman, the applicant, Zach Gebhardt. Zoning Hearing Board Exhibit B is the notice of the public hearing There's a letter from Kristen regarding the advertisement, which was in the paper. The letter from her dated May 4th is to the property owner advising them of tonight's hearing. Zoning Hearing Board Exhibit C is the public posting of the property. Zoning Hearing Board Exhibit D is the notice of the hearing that was advertised in the Observer Reporter twice as in accordance with the MPC, April 27th, and again on May 4th. Those are the 4 zoning hearing board exhibits. This gentleman, Kevin Booth, who spoke, he's resident exhibit 1. That makes a total of 5 exhibits. I don't believe there's any other exhibits. So the exhibits are marked and admitted. The zoning hearing board has 45 days by law to make a decision. I would recommend that they debate this, decide it, consider it, and it comes up for decision at the next meeting in June, but that's just my recommendation. I'm not a voting member, so I'll go back to the chairman.
I want to wait.
You want to wait? She wasn't. I'd like to have a sign. Can we do that, Mr. Carroll?
Yeah, we can have a executive session right now. Is there a place to have an executive session?
I cannot get my phone to turn off. There's no sound on and it keeps making noises.
Ready to go?
Excuse me, folks, we're ready to reconvene here.
Back in session.
Okay, well, the board met for an executive session for a legal question or questions. And at this time, the board's going to exercise its prerogative to take 45 days to make a decision. I'd ask that the board do a motion to table this to the next zoning hearing board meeting, which, if I have it correctly, would be Monday, June 8th.
I move to table this till June 8th.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're on to the application two. Where's the applicant?
I finally got some good pictures and I figured.
We were looking at someone.
You'll like the pictures better.
Thank you.
Sir, do you want these as part of your
Yes, please.
exhibit?
Oh, there it is.
You ready to swear him in?
I did not. I do.
Name, sir?
Yeah, my name is Michael Anderson.
Your address?
I live at 345 Wilbert Avenue.
Okay, and you submitted to this board a variance application. Can you tell us about it, please?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I live on 345 Wilbert Avenue. My lot, I have two lots that are connected lengthwise. The first lot's 150 foot long. The second lot, I believe, is about 288 feet long by 60 wide. What I'm looking to do, if I wanted to install solar panels, I'm not able to. I've spent 3 years trying to figure out how in the world I can get solar panels on my property, on my house, on my garage. It's actually really nice. My lot butts along with Driscoll Park. I run the whole length of it, and there's 4 enormous oak trees. So those oak trees cast a shadow over my garage, which is an accessory structure on where my primary house is at. And it blocks that side of it. The front of my house, you have, when the sun sets in the west, it's blocked by the hospital. So I don't have any good options for solar. And I really have been trying to figure out a way to do that. Recently, I would say technology's increasing. Panels are becoming way more efficient. What I'm looking to do is place solar panels on what's called a solar tracker. In your information I sent you on the last page is what a solar tracker looks like. Okay. You could figure the solar tracker's probably about 7 foot tall when it's flat. Okay. So what happens is when you wake up in the morning, the panels, well, let's just talk about its resting place. Whenever it's dark out, whenever the wind goes above 35 miles per hour, the panels are horizontal. So there's minimal impact to anybody looking at them. They're flat. When the sun comes up, it'll go to the east and follow the sun. You know, at the peak time of the day, the panels are sitting flat. And then when the sun sets, they go on the west side. Okay. So reason why I'm asking for the variance is, unfortunately, my 2 lots are not combined into one property, right? I own 2 separate, I don't know what you refer to them as, lots, deeds, not deeds. They're just 2 separate properties. So on that property, I do not have any structures on that property. It is basically vacant land. One of my favorite thing to do is stripe my lawn. I like making long stripes in my lawn. I keep them in, just perfect. So, when I'm looking at this, The most expensive way, well, let's say the least expensive way to do solar is on your roof. Super inexpensive now. We have about 4 people now in our neighborhood that have solar. I want to be one of them, right? I look at them every day when we walk our dog around the neighborhood, and I get enjoyment out of that, knowing that, you know, you're creating your own electricity. I've learned a lot of things here. You know, politics are very polarizing. Solar panels are polarizing, and also electric vehicles. I own 3 electric vehicles, and I'd like to have solar panels. So it's not meant to hurt anybody else. I'm doing it in a way that minimizes it. So I want to tell you a little bit about the way I can minimize the impact of this. Okay. So these solar panels that they have out now, they're bifacial panels, which means it gathers sun from the top, and then any sun coming off, reflecting off of the earth or the ground, you got what's called a backside gain. So this system that I'm wanting to create, let's just call 7 kilowatts. Okay. To put that in perspective, West Penn Power, when you want to do an interconnect, that means tie in with the grid, a grid tie system like I want to do. What happens is if it's under 10 kilowatts, it's considered a small system, right? This is minuscule in relation to any solar farms. I'm not taking any farmland for any solar farms or anything like that. I mean, this is for my own personal use. I'm only creating enough electricity to cover my own house and my vehicles. That's it. And with that, like I was mentioning about these bifacial panels, if you just take regular panels and then add bifacials, you can gain 20% efficiency. Okay. So what would that mean? Say you needed 20 regular panels, take 20% of that, you're already doing in less space. Now, what's out there now are trackers. I would say they're pretty expensive, right? They're not a cheap date by any means. You know, this solar tracker, what it does at our latitude, it could be up to 35 to 40% more output on the same panels. Now, if you look at the pictures that I have, okay, you can see, what do you see in all the pictures? Trees. I literally have no trees. Actually, I heard this gentleman say to me, how do you put a solar panel there? There's no sun. That's the whole goal of this, is that I'm going to follow the sun rather than have panels that are fixed, that are on the ground. I'm going to be able to maintain my lawn by mowing underneath them. With the proper height, I can run my lawnmower directly underneath these and maintain my property, keep it looking good. But when we're going through this, you know, on that first page, you'll see a picture. That picture is from my current garage or my house looking down, down towards, I guess, a neighbor in the rear of me. You can see what I'm able to do. I really figured this out. Where I can place the solar panels and utilize all the natural screening around me. It's like a blessing because I have all these trees, right? I only need sunlight in this very specific area. And you could see, I don't even have a direct view of my neighbor directly behind me, okay? And when you see the TR on that drawing, TR stands for tracker, solar tracker is what I'm referring to, okay? On the second page, the small picture on the right-hand side, I just want to show you that view, that's looking up at my house at 345 Wilbert Avenue. You can't even see any houses other than mine. You can actually just barely see the rear of my garage, right? So these solar panels are going to be hidden for all of Wilbert Avenue. On the left-hand side, on the other picture on here, that's the natural shading that's along my neighbor, Michael DeYoung's lot. His lot has already 6 to 8 foot overgrown bushes lining his. So, you know, the whole idea is wherever I place this, I can be blocked from multiple sides. Now, you know, when you look at it, just to give you a little lay of the land, I want to give you an idea, you know, exactly like you mentioned, how could somebody get solar where I'm located? I'm literally in a hole. Okay. So when you look at my property, Driscoll Park's going to be doing some work, or South Strabane going to be doing some work in the park. And there was an engineer that was there that had an elevations map. So that's where this came from. I just snapped a picture of it. But you could see where that tracker is going to be located. The elevation's 1134 above sea level. Okay. To put that in perspective, that is probably about 10 foot lower than where my garage sits. My house, the top of the yard, the first floor of my house where the front yard is, that's 1170. So all the surrounding property, I mean, it is a very steep drop off. And the property behind me, you know, I'm probably a good 10 or 15 foot below them also. So what I did before I even dreamed of this idea, remember I told you, it took me 3 years to figure a viable option. I went around and talked to all my neighbors to the left, to the right of me, everybody on Wilbert. You know, I asked them, I said, hey, how do you feel about if I put a solar panels and solar trackers? Everybody's like, hey, this is great. No problem. The people directly behind me, any adjoining property to me, I talked to good portion of Larch. I didn't talk to anybody on Sarah running up. It's pretty far away. I mean, it's way up there. So, you know, what, you know, to basically let you know what I'm asking for is, number one, to be able to add an accessory structure to a vacant lot, right? That means I want to put the solar panels on a lot that doesn't have my primary residence or my residence or building. Okay. And once again, if I didn't want to go through this variance process, what I would do is just combine my two lots, and then it's automatic, right? So it's really an automatic process. I wouldn't even have to do this if I just combine my two lots. The second thing is with the 15 foot height requirement. You know, when you look at 15 foot, you go, wow, that's massive, right? What are you building, right? What is the position of it? It is horizontal unless the sun is out in the morning and the afternoon. Those are mechanically limited, where it doesn't matter. I can limit the angle of it. I would just lose a percentage of the production during winter. You know, when in the wintertime, when you look at solar panels, they got to be pretty far up and down to be able to basically absorb all the radiant energy. So, you know, in that situation, I'm really, can I do it in 15 foot? Yeah, I can probably do it. It's not the best use of my money. It's costing me more money to do it, right? Like if you're going to put solar panels, you might as well get full efficiency. And the reason why it's important is with our snows that we've had, the bottom of the panels, when that tracker raises up and goes to a more vertical position, you don't want it dragging in the snowpack, right? So that extra footage essentially is me trying to get a little freedom for two things. One is snowpack. You know, when it snows on the ground, the bottom of the panels aren't going to hit. And number two, I really like mowing my grass in straight lines. I don't like going around stuff. Okay. So I just want to keep mowing straight underneath the tracker. Okay. And then that was the item number two, which is the 15 foot height requirement. And the third item would be the screening requirement. Like I said, I really used all the tools I had to place it or to choose a location that will, number one, produce the amount of power that I have. If I put it somewhere else, I would just need more panels, right? You either put more panels or have it a place where you get greater solar efficiency. And, you know, I wanted to take advantage of the natural screening because the solar ordinance, I don't know that it was designed or written specifically for me with a tracker or a tracker in mind. You know, this isn't something that, I mean, putting an 8-foot bush next to a solar tracker isn't going to really do anything. It's not going to accomplish the goal because the tracker is going to be above it. It's 7 foot for the, you know, for the height of it. You know, just to kind of summarize some things I have jotted down, you know, solar has what? Inherent limitation. It's basically in order to produce enough, you either do what? Add more panels or get more efficiency. I want to be respectful to everyone. I personally look at solar panels and I'm like, wow, that's great. I get excited about it. You know, back in 2015, I was driving an electric car before, I don't know that many people around here even knew that electric cars existed. Solar panels will become, and I'm not here to sell them. I can care less, right? They're for me. But solar panels will become the future for residential houses. It will happen. Once electricity prices increase, people are going to look for alternatives, and you'll find that solar panels are so efficient now and so inexpensive that you can do it with minimum cost, minimal effort. Unfortunately, I just don't have the right house. Okay. So then also, you know, just to give you, some other things with my design process, I did basically, I'm really in a situation where I have unnecessary hardship derived from my unique property, right? Like you mentioned, I love bringing you into this, but I don't have a yard I don't have a house. I don't have a garage. I don't have anything. Unless there was this huge windstorm that took out all the oak trees in the park, would I be able to have solar panels? It's just my unique situation where I'm at. So, I'm trying to make the best out of it, minimize the size of it, keep things as efficient as possible. And with that, I can assure you that I think you might have made the comment too about deep pockets. It costs a lot of money to do what I'm doing. It's fine now. You know what I mean? I'm willing to do that to be able to accomplish my goal, right? Also, just to kind of give you some more information, I really did place it to try to utilize 100% of the natural screening. I utilize the setbacks to their fullest extent. I'm really trying to look at the placement of them to get it in the proper place to minimize impact. I really see myself as, somebody who is a person who's, a leader in natural renewable resources. I'm a CPA, right? I'm not an engineer. I'm not anything. I'm really an accountant. But what do I like? I like efficiency. I like sustainability. That's my thing I like. I want these solar panels to accomplish their goal. Like a lot of these people saying they've lived here for like 50 or 60 years. I chose to move here. My wife and I, we graduated from Washington and Jefferson College together. We decided to move here because we recognize what's here. There was another guy that mentioned that he's from West Virginia. I'm from West Virginia too, right? This solar system, I installed one at my father's house in West Virginia, where I grew up. To be honest with you, that's what we talk about. My father could care less about anything that's going on in my life other than opening up his app and saying, wow, I made 40 kilowatt hours today. Okay. So, just to give you an idea, that's what it is. That's what it's about, protecting ourselves in the event of power outages. The tie-in to West Penn Power, that's all simple. It's all doable. I was able to install my father's 100% myself, have it inspected, have everything done without the help of any professionals.
Wow.
So it's been researched. The 3 years wasn't a joke. It takes a lot of time for me to figure out how to do this. I'm confident with what I'm doing. If there are people that are unsure how it looks, the appearance of it, afraid that it'll detract from the neighborhood, there's a lot of solar panels going up on roofs, and I'm going to tell you, it's probably something that everybody's going to have to get comfortable with. It's going to happen. Not yet. Electric cars back in 2015, would you ever say they'd be mainstream, the #1 selling vehicle in the world? Never would have thought that. They are. So that's my approach on this. So I appreciate it. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has. I would say that I've built a knowledge base where I'm happy to answer anything.
since I'm totally ignorant about solar panels, do you guys have any questions?
I wanted to, are you gonna install this yourself?
That's
Is that
what I
you're
was-
Oh,
saying?
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's 100%. I'm going to self-install. You know, with,
That the ordinance doesn't allow you to do that though, unless you're certified to do all that. Yeah,
well, then there goes that.
I mean, it's wrote right here on section 3.
Is that for a commercial one or is it?
No, this is for an accessory solar system. You have to be licensed to do that.
Well, I tell you what, I'm certain I'm smart enough to get licensed. So in order to install at my father's house, I had to become a certified installer for Solar Edge. Solar Edge makes you take an exam in order to become able to, you have like a installer login where it enables you to basically turn on the inverter. They don't want you turning on the inverter unless you're gone through their training. So I'm happy to do that too.
Yeah, it says right on here, registered home improvement contractor with the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office.
Well, I'm not going to have that then.
Yeah.
But, you know, so with that, I mean, is that the same way with roof mounted?
I would assume so, seeing this is an accessory solar system. It's 245, 193.1. It's part C there. And I wanted to ask you too, you said you're gonna put 10 panels up?
There's going to be between, there could possibly be 12 because what's going on is I had to contact Solar Edge. They have a design tool. With the panels that I'm using, they're 615 watt bifacial panels. The wattage on them are 40 watts per panel. And there's a requirement that per string, these solar panels are in a string, okay? If I do 10 panels, I'm over the wattage per a string. If I do 5 panels on one string, I do not have enough optimizers in order to basically activate the string. So if you think of it this way, these panels are producing 15 watts a piece, okay? You're doing higher wattage and lower amperage. The 15 amps limitation, you can't get enough to actually turn on the inverter. So what's going to probably end up happening is once I get the official word, and just to let you know, I did hire a company to do the drawings because I figured it'd just be easier if
You
they.
didn't submit that with the application then?
No, I don't have them yet.
Okay.
I physically don't have the drawings yet that they're preparing. I have them in draft form. I mean, I could show you the draft form, but there's some inconsistencies in it. When I was reviewing it, they didn't calculate voltage drop properly on the strings. They only had me having one string from the solar panel up, and with the distance that it's traveling with the NEC code, you're only allowed a 3% voltage drop. So I'm in a situation where I know that you can't do this. Now I do have the number of the people who would have to do the building permit from. I contacted them, talked to them directly. I have a full understanding of all the requirements that are there, and I'm able to 100% handle that.
How big is each one of the panels?
They're
'Cause from
three.
what I've seen, about 5 feet by 3 feet for each panel. Does that sound about right?
No, they're a little bit bigger than that. So each panel, there were going to be, see, now they're in millimeters. So when you do a conversion, I don't know what they are in feet and inches, but it'll be 3.7 feet wide
Mhm.
by 7.8 feet tall.
And
is
you're
what-
gonna have 10 of those.
Yes, well, possibly
So that's
12.
gonna be a huge area, or 12. That would be a huge area that would be 15 feet in the high, in the
So
sky.
to give you an idea, the actual size, okay, when you look at that and you go huge area, I look at that as minimal, right? In order to produce that amount of electricity with traditional panels and a non-tracker, you'd be well in excess of 20 panels, right? So that's the benefit of where I'm going with this and how I'm approaching it. Because that would be a system that's considerably more like a regular standard one that's on the roof with all my neighbors. They have probably about 415 watt panels, right? So if I did a little math, we can come up with the amount. So 7,200 divide that by, let's just call them 400 watt panels. Okay. So yeah, you need 18, 19 panels to accomplish the same.
But if you're saying there's 7 feet and you're going to use 10 to 12 panels, that's 70 feet that would be up in the air. Is that what you're saying?
No,
Well, how big would the overall height and width?
so the
would be
overall
how-
height would be 7.6 or 7.8. I have to look, see what height I have. Well, let's just call them 8 foot, 8 foot. 8 and 8 is 16,
Mhm.
right? The apex of the tracker is 7. When it comes down, I can limit it to 15 foot if I put it directly on the ground. So max it would ever be, could be 15 foot. I'm looking for a variance for 20 because I want to give myself more room. I want to get off of the ground for the snowpack. Okay. So looking at width, if we took 3.7 times 6, because you'd have 6. 3.7 times 6 is 22.2 foot.
And this actually rotates towards the sun. It follows the sun. is what
Well, it's called a dual axis tracker. Okay, so what dual axis means is the panels will tilt forward and backwards, and it'll rotate on a, it's like a gear-driven rotator where it'll turn. And the beauty of this is whenever you're looking at it at nighttime, where does it sit? Flat. It's flat for most of the day. There's only a couple times, early morning, late afternoon is the only time it's at an angle.
So you're actually not, then with it rotating, because it's going to try to follow the sun to get the most.
It
energy.
follows the sun the whole time.
It follows the sun. So you're not going to be able to actually block your neighbors from that glare then. If the sun comes at their house at 3 in the afternoon, then the glare is going to be there at 3 in the afternoon on the neighbors.
So the cool thing about solar trackers, the path is 100% predictable. I know where it will go and where it's going to be. There's nobody on Sarah that would ever even get any glare from this. It's impossible because the solar panel is not going that way. Where it's going, if there's any potential for glare, that's where it's going to go into that one picture you have here, which is the one where you see the shrubs, the trees, the tree house. That's where it's going.
Now, how tall are these trees that are right here that you were talking about?
Those ones probably 100 foot tall, at least 100 foot tall.
These are the oak trees you're talking about?
Yeah, those are the Parks oak trees.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, you can see they tower over my garage. There's no, I didn't play games with optical illusions on this. It's really hard to take a picture that is representative of it. I mean, I'd be happy to have you guys come out and take a look at it. But looking at it, you can see there's nobody on Wilbert Avenue that will ever see this. There's nobody on Larch, the lower end of Larch, you could see it, at the intersection between Larch and Sarah. There's no denying you're going to see it. You're not going to get glare off of it because if you're looking at north, it would be facing north. The panels never face north, right? And it is actually north, right? There's no, it doesn't face that way. So yeah, so that's where I'm at on this. And I mean, you can see, once again, I'm an accountant. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a contractor. I'm just researched in this. I've done my homework on how to go about it in the most effective way possible.
Now, what about the transducers and the inverters? How many of those will you have on there?
Well, this is a different setup than, I mean, there is an inverter. So the inverter will reside inside of my house. Okay. The wire that goes from the solar panels, each solar panel will have what's called an optimizer. As you pointed out, how are you going to get sun down there, right? Solar panels have inherent limitations. If one panel is shaded, the whole string goes out. So what they have are what are called optimizers for a string system. What it does is reduces the voltage and equalizes the voltage across each panel in that string. Hence the reason why I got to go with, I'm probably going to have to go with 6 per string. But what it does is do that. That DC wire is buried in 1-inch conduit using number 8 THHN wire, and it runs up to the house, goes inside the house. Whenever it gets into the house or along the house, you have to run metal conduit, which is EMT conduit. And then from there, you know, basically what you're looking at, your hair dryer probably will produce more amperage than what those solar panels will do. I mean, it'll be close to 15 amps.
What kind of noise is that making? Like what type of humming are you going to be getting from that?
Oh no, you don't get any humming. It's completely silent. The only part that could potentially make a hum would be inside of my house. It's physically inside of my house. So, I mean, there's a lot of technology out there now that would enable me to do this. You know, on the financial side of it, listen, the solar tax credit, it went away. I'm not doing this for any tax benefit, for anything like that. I'm doing it for me. I've reached a point where I've decided that this is the direction I want to go, you know, and that's why I want to take advantage of this opportunity.
You just want to do it.
Have you?
Well, yeah, that's it.
Have you considered any kind of fencing or anything around it? I know notwithstanding your yard, straight lines, but is that something you've considered or an option for you?
It's not going to accomplish any goals. You're going to shade the panels. Whenever the panels are in the vertical position, it'll be shaded by the fence, right? And it doesn't. There's no benefit. The lot is 60. To be honest with you, one time I did want to put up a small fence, and I made one of my neighbors mad by doing that. So yeah, you know, people get crazy when you want to put up a fence. You probably have a room double the size if I put up a fence, because what everybody does is uses my yard to go to the park, right? They just walk by there. This tracker isn't something that's dangerous. You know, like I said, the guy who designed it, he's up in New York. His name's Grady. Grady designed these himself, and he actually had one down in Florida. So about a week ago, I went down to Sarasota, Florida, because he said he designed this and he wanted me to see it. It survived the hurricane, the last one that went through like the Bradenton, Sarasota. So it's designed to be safe. It's no maintenance. There's nothing you have to do to it. It operates completely quiet. It's moving so slow. I mean, you think of how long it takes the sun to go from where it rises to, yeah, it's hours. So it doesn't move fast. It's just there. I mean, hopefully I'm compelling you guys to get your own solar systems. And I know probably at least out of 4 of you, one of you will within the next 10 years. So pretty confident in it.
I'm too old.
Well, there. I think you got a lot of time left. Okay, I mean,
I'd like to believe that.
But
you don't know how old I am.
Where did they suggest it you to dispose of those panels when they're no longer functioning?
They're going to last my lifetime. I'll be dead and gone.
To what I understand, they only last around 20 years on the average for a panel.
Oh no! These are Jinko type end panels. Like these aren't
with all kind of toxic waste in those panels too.
Yeah, and once again, I listen, I have appreciation for this. This can go back. I mean, what I mentioned to you, the most polarizing thing, politics, electric cars, solar panels. You know, I mean, I've been driving Teslas since 2015, right? That's what everybody says. What about the batteries? I'm confident, I don't know for sure, I'm not researched on it, that there is a proper way of disposing of everything, you know, and obviously if I'm willing to put up the money to do this, I'm willing to do things properly. The reason why I'm here is because I wanted to once again, ask for permission. I'm not doing this stuff trying to pull wool over their head. I mean, literally, if I wanted, probably would have been better after the last guy was here and saw what he went through, right? But, truly, if I didn't want to deal with any of this, I would combine my lots. Very simple. I can put up a solar tracker without even requesting anything. All I have to do is combine my 2 lots into one, and that enables me to do this. It's not something.
And have someone else install it for you.
Well, that I gotta work through that one now. I gotta tell you, I don't know if you guys know what it's like to be married to an attorney, but she's going to be unhappy with
I
me.
raised one, so yeah, I kind
Ooh.
of.
Actually, she's a judge now, so it's going to be worse. Okay. So I'm going to be sweating bullets when I go home, but because she'll tell me, Michael, you didn't read this? And I'll say, no, honey, I'm sorry. I didn't read it. So, I mean, I got to work through that. I mean, that's just something you got to work through.
Okay, where are we at?
Is there any public comment?
Public comment, I'm sorry. You should really consider selling these things.
Listen, I do. I'm a much better CPA than I am.
Oh, no. I've
than
been in
this.
retail I was in retail over 40 years. You ought to talk to this guy. You can franchise with him.
Well, I can tell you though, when you look at people's houses, you can see who were sold solar panels by people who were respectful in actually doing what they should do and those who weren't. We have 2 of them in our neighborhood where I would say I would give their installers 10 out of 10. They installed the proper number of panels for them. The one has 17, the other one has 15. Now, obviously, they don't have the usage that we have due to the electric vehicles, right? So their panel requirement isn't quite there. But when you look at they were proper, there's other ones in the neighborhood you look at and you just get upset. They're putting solar panels on the wrong side of the roof.
That's
What are you doing with it, right? You're
They
wrong
won't
side of
do
the roof. So, but
okay.
Yeah, there's some list like that.
Yes, Jack.
Hi, my name is Jay Gordon. I live up at 650 Sarah Drive. I have a couple comments to make, bullet points. I also have a video that I sent Kristen. I don't know if she can put it up there that shows that whole area where this is going to be in the houses within that area. So I don't know if she can put that up there and I can kind of explain as it shows, use it as an exhibit.
Go ahead, but we can't, obviously we can't make it as an exhibit, which a sonographer can't.
We can see.
But if you want to
Or
show
can
it,
see.
sure, go ahead.
So this was taken down at Driscoll Park. You can see the sliding board right there and the property going. Well, there's some pictures too, in addition to a video. So there's Driscoll. The park's right there beside his property. Here's the video. Sorry. You can see all the trees, and the tree lines. True, he's not gonna be able to see it in the summer, but in the winter, those leaves are down, it's wide open. There's this property up here. This is going up here, this is Wilbert, this is back on Larch Street now. All the homes up there, you can see right down in there, there's Sarah. All the homes up there, can't see the trees, still all the way back here to the far end. And it keeps continuing around, you don't see it. Back to the cemetery over there and back to Driscoll Park. So it kind of gives you an idea of what lies there. All right, a couple bullet points. I'm not going to go on and on about solar because I'm not that keen on the solar, but granting these variances will not be in the harmony of the purpose and intent of R3 zoning laws. Granting these 3 variances will alter the essential character of the neighborhood. Yes, it will, with big panels going up in the neighborhood with trees and homes. It's different than anything else. On roofs are fine. That doesn't affect anybody. The value of the homes may be impacted by these variances. People come in, they look down here and go, oh, I want to look out my kitchen window and see that every day, sticking up in the air. The height of the proposed variances will impact or disrupt the views going down into the park and through all the neighborhood, all the way around that particular area. Is there a hardship by doing these variables for the applicant? If so, what are the hardships? If you deny it, what's the hardships to him? The applicant lacks a clear, rational demonstration of a legitimate reason for hardship variance. He did say hardship. What's the hardship? He's not getting electric in his house, so he needs these to supply power to his home? No, I think West Bend Power supplies his house. Approval will set a precedent for future requests that undermine the R3 zoning regulations and make it difficult to enforce and maintain consistency in the R3 zoning area. What variance future requests will be based on this particular project? Somebody want to put a observation tower up 25, 30 feet? Well, this is over the variance of 15 feet. You're going to allow that because they're going to come back and say, well, you allowed this guy to do this. This is out of ordinary. Now, a couple of questions I do have. We know how high it's going to be. I don't think there's going to be any trees cut that I know of. And he says it's electric for personal use. Is he going to have power from West Bend Power coming into his house? Or is this all the power he's going to have? He doesn't have that power coming into West Bend Power. Yeah, I can see that'd be a hardship case. But if he has power coming in, what's he need this additional power for? Which disrupts the neighborhood, by the way. Wilbert Avenue said they won't be able to see it. Well, the trees are down. You'll see it. In the fall, winter, it's straight through. You can see everything. Not close to Sarah. Well, it's pretty close to Sarah Drive. Everybody up in Sarah got the notices on this for 300 feet. So there were 30 notices sent out. 30 notices sent out. And I still don't really have a concept, because I didn't see a picture of this thing or a design of this thing. So I really don't. I can picture it in my own mind, but what's it going to look like when it's actually sitting there? How are we going to see that, be able to look at that constantly? It seems like an industrial type project in the middle of the R3 area. So that's kind of where I'm at. And my wife back here, same way, and some of the other neighbors, if they submitted anything, I think they may feel the same. So it's kind of an aesthetic thing, and it's different than what the R3 is meant for single family homes, garages. This is not an accessory of any type. It's not a hardship case that I can tell, unless there is a hardship case. So you guys make your decision, but I, for one, and my wife are totally against this. It's just not fit for our neighborhood. Out in the country, or 30, 40 acres on something, yeah, okay. And sorry, he can't put one on his roof. That's his problem, not ours. But he's making it our problem. Thank you.
Judy Panassi, Green Crescent Drive. Believe it or not, this is what my master's degree paper was on. And that was 20 some year, I'm telling my age now, but that was before I got involved in the TIF and everything, Jay. So that's how long ago my master's. And solar energy has not gotten any more popular, and the place that we used to do our paper on closed down. And, you know, and I did insane research on solar energy going back to the 60s, and the panels on the White House that got taken down when Reagan went in, and how solar energy would have been good in the middle of Africa where they had no way to get electric, how they could have done that. But there was nothing in my research 20 years ago. And even as a person looking into all of this and what I do for a living, I travel Western Pennsylvania extensively and ask questions about things like solar energy is actually on one of my questionnaires that I do for the government. And I've probably in 25 years had 2 people to 3 that have had solar energy. 2 were on their roofs, and the one guy knew what he was doing with it. And the other person was recent, and it was out in a field. And so I have a lot of comments to make on this. First, I'd like to say exactly what Jay said. Like, this isn't even in you know, in an area where there's people have a lot of space. Like most of those, an R3 is a higher density neighborhood where there's not a lot of open land to begin with. and you're opening it up that what if somebody else down the road or in any other area, and this, if you want to have something like that, it's just like the gentleman before this, move to where it fits. You move into a neighborhood, you adapt to that neighborhood. They shouldn't have to adapt to what you want. And again, this is a want, not a need. And one of the statements was that it could be on the roof. He'd get less out of it. Like, his best to get the most bang for his buck is to do this project, not to put it on his roof. It didn't say that it couldn't be put on the roof, but for optimal usage, it would have to be put on his roof. Or I mean, the thing not on the roof. So it could go on his roof. If you're worried about, running out of electric, you could have a generator. I mean, watch Fox News, Gentek's on there all the time. That's an option if you want to say that that's what it's for. But going into a neighborhood and wanting to change it. And again, I have not seen in all my travels anything like this in a side lot. I think the most upsetting thing tonight is to have two people in front of this board that say, I should have just done it and not come here. Like nothing would happen to them. And I think even this board and maybe this township needs to put a thing out to the residents. If you don't follow our rules, you're tearing your house down, you're tearing your whatever down. We have a set of rules that they all know they have to go by. And to make comments like, well, I could have just not come here and done it. Like, that's BS. That is a BS comment. And if you want to, then merge your properties. If you could have done that, then why not do that? If that eliminates coming to this board, that's a simple thing. I've been to a boatload of meetings that people do that. Regarding the trees around the park, they're old oaks. I don't know if anybody pays attention to all the trees falling down in South Strabane and in this area. I can't tell you how many of my neighbors are having all their trees cut down. Our neighborhood's from late 60s, early 70s. Jay is, I don't know if up there, if that's around the same time period, maybe like 40s, 50s, or early 60s. So if those trees are that old, there's a chance that they could come down. And then where's the shielding of it? Our solicitor for this township is outstanding, and he did a lot of work when he did our ordinances, and that was for a reason. It is to protect everybody. It's not so that people can come in and one special exemption. And again, this is not a hardship. This is fun. I'd like to have a tennis court in my front yard, mainly so I don't have to mow it, but nobody's going to let me put a tennis court in a residential one because I want to do it. I'm just sorry. I wrote a lot of notes when he was saying stuff, just like with the way the sun sets and all that. I get that. They have solar panels in Germany. Like, people's misconception that you have to have the brightest sun all the time. Yeah, but you can still get tons of solar power if you don't have that. Putting him on his roof is not going to kill him from being able to get this, and it might be a minimal amount. I've brought up solar energy to South Strabane. I've said, put it on the back end of the hillside over where the guys, help me out, maintenance shed is. And, everybody ignores me. Smith Township had some solar panels. I don't think they're still doing it. But he kept saying, like, everybody's going to have this in 20 years. Like, so the company I did my master's that I worked on my project with, they closed. They were in Ross Traver. Like, this has never taken off in this country. Will it? Maybe long time down the road when gas and electric don't exist. But our country has not followed the pattern. Again, I'm not against solar energy. I understand it probably better than anybody in this room because I had to do all the stupid research for a paper. But this is what's best for him. He said it over and over. It's for him and his cars. That's great. We still don't understand what this is going to look like. And my cousins they put solar panels on their house and then they sold it. And then they never went back and put solar panels on the new houses that they bought after that. So it's not, and they're doctors and lawyers and they live in Colorado and, they do all this stuff. And again, I just don't get why we have to make exceptions for people just because it'll make them happy, and basing things on what they think the future is going to be. What if somebody new moves into that neighborhood and is different people, or his neighbors don't realize it, and they go to sell their house and they see that there and they're like, oh, that's a turnoff. Nobody's even discussed that at this. If a realtor were here, that would be a good question. But, structures on a vacant lot was one of his other things, that it's a vacant lot and he can't have that on there. Then why are we letting it? Let him make the combination. Let him follow the rules, how to do it the right way, instead of because every time this board makes an exception and changes something, it has long-term effects for this community. And you guys know that. I've been to enough of your meetings. You understand that, but I just want to get it on the record. Like what seems like a small thing for someone to have fun in their yard could have long-term ramifications for the rest of South Strabane Township. Thank you.
Judy, that was very quick. I'm proud of you.
I didn't prepare, that's why.
Next, anybody?
I do have one other comment. Yeah, Jay Gordon, 650 Sarah Drive. He did mention about the kids coming down through the yards to Driscoll Park, and they do. I mean, there's kids, adults, cut through the yards, goes down. That's fine. They don't bother anybody. But something like this, they're going to be kids. Kids are kids. They're going to look at that thing. It's going to look like a monkey bar. And they're going to try to see what they can do. And they may not get hurt, but they may get hurt. It's electrical. So it's just something else that close to Driscoll Park, kids are down there all the time. Thank you.
Yeah, I had a comment to kids getting hurt. That is a great reason. I appreciate your help. We need that up 20 foot for sure. Okay. So, with that height, I'm really not concerned. I'm going to tell you that people are very respectful in our neighborhood, and there's not concern of that. But as far as getting hurt on the electrical side of it, new technology out there, these are equipped with what are called rapid shutdown optimizers. As soon as there's a break or fault, it instantly goes down to less than 1 volt. So the idea of it is they're making them safe, because when you have solar panels on top of your roof, you don't want to burn down your house. So the cool technology that's out there, this is all top end technology, right? There are probably inverters out there that probably melt down something could be. But as far as any wires or anything like that where somebody could get hurt, it instantly goes to, it's like 1 volt, and that's it. So just to let you know, that's what it has. And I do want to say, this provides security in the event of a power outage. The whole idea of it is when the power goes down, our power doesn't shut off. It just keeps on trucking. So it's definitely something that is out there, something that will be more common just in our neighborhood. In this year, 3 of them this year in our neighborhood, people got solar. So, I appreciate your comments. 20 years ago, the efficiency per panel, they were 150 watt panels. They're now up to 650 or more. Bifacials with bifacial gain up to 700. So it's kind of crazy what technology is out there to enable people to do this. Unfortunately, when you look at it, could I put it on my garage? Absolutely not. I'm 100% shaded on the side I would need to put it on because of the oak trees. Yeah. So it's impossible to do that. On the front of my house, you could say, well, maybe you could put it on there. I have a stone house with a slate roof. Talk about changing the look of a neighborhood. Rip off that slate roof. It's beautiful, right? It's a peach and green Vermont slate that I meticulously maintain to keep that roof in good operating condition. Unfortunately, I don't think the world has figured out a way to attach solar panels to a front of that. Plus, I end up getting blocked by the sun from the hospital, which is much higher. So anyways, I appreciate it.
Can I do a response? These connections that will stop any kind of a surge electrical, are those tested yearly?
They're certified as in standards in the solar ordinance.
Are they tested yearly?
I don't have to test them. I mean,
Okay, all right, you answered my question. As far as power outages, we had one recently this past winter.
Oh, yeah.
Lasted a while, but I've been up there 35 years, and I think I've had a couple that last maybe a couple hours. That's trunk lines going up to the hospital up there. That's a concentrated area. If there's a power outage, they go to those concentrated areas first before they go out to the farm. Correct? Yeah. They'll go up to that area first to fix it before they go out to the farm. So I don't know about power outages. Again, a generator would fit in just to cover that. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak? Okay, we're gonna mark some exhibits now. Exhibit 1 is the applicant's exhibit 1, which he provided this evening. That's several pictures and some diagrams with some notes. That's his exhibit 1. We also have some residents who submitted a letter and an email. This would be resident exhibit 1 is an email from Jack and Doris Fletcher of 645 Sarah Drive. In opposition, I'm not going to read the thing, but it's in opposition. It's going to be marked as resident exhibit 1. Which will be on the record if anyone wants to see. Resident exhibit 2 is also a letter from a Joan Stewart, 660 Sarah Drive, dated May 10th. Appears that she is also in opposition to this. Now, the zoning hearing board exhibits. Exhibit A is going to be the application that was signed by the applicant. I'm assuming, sir, your wife is also joining in on this application, even though she didn't sign it.
We own it jointly,
Okay.
but I mean, do I need to give her signature?
No, I just questioning. I'm assuming
Yeah,
she's.
I mean, yeah, we're married. You know.
There's also, you also provide some additional information. That'll be zoning hearing board exhibit B. Zoning hearing board exhibit C will be the letter from Ms. Houlihan to the applicant dated May 4th, apprising him of the meeting and also advising everyone, the neighbors within probably, I'm assuming 300 feet. Exhibit D, zoning hearing board will be the posting of the property. Zoning hearing board exhibit E will be the publication in the Observer Reporter. Again, twice in accordance with the MPC on April 27th and then again on May 4th. Exhibit D, are we on D or E? Okay, exhibit F will be some portions of the zoning hearing or the zoning ordinance in question dealing with the setbacks and area and bulk regulations in this district, the R3 zoning district. Those are the zoning hearing board exhibits. We'll admit those along with applicant exhibit 1 and residence exhibit 1 and 2. Mr. Makel, did you wish to speak on behalf of the township? Hey, we quote you on that? I'm guessing since we took the 45 days on the first application, the zoning hearing board would like to do the same on this one. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Okay.
Can we make a motion to continue or to table this until the next meeting on June 8th?
Let's make motion for a continuance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Done.
I don't think there's any further business then, so we're concluded this evening at 8:11. Thank you, everyone.